And welcome back here to Veteran Nation, everyone. I am the skipper, Mike Arthur here, and today we actually have a veteran who is going to be running for office this term. Uh, so, Mr. Collins, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How about yourself? Thank you.
I'm doing well. So you're running for office here in California, correct?
Yes, yes, in the 43rd district.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that you're running against Maxine Waters.
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay. And how is that going so far for you?
Our race is going very well. We've raised a substantial amount of money. We came out swinging really hard after the primary election. We got a new team. We're getting a lot of support from the community, Democrats, Republicans, Independents. We have it all on my team right now, and it's just a testament of the leadership that I've been able to bring to the community. And so it looks like we're going to win.
Excellent, excellent. Now, there's a lot of veterans running here in California for Congress this time.
Yes, yeah, I'm excited about it too. Good. Every single veteran needs to get into office. I cannot stress that enough.
That's that's good because that's California has a lot of veterans who've retired here, a lot who've gotten out and stayed, like myself. So yeah, I think there's enough of us that we should require some representation.
Yes, absolutely.
So I do want to ask you, what in your past do you think makes you uniquely qualified to serve in our Congress?
I would say along the lines of two things. The first thing is military service, obviously. When you talk about what you want from a person representing you in Congress, you always want to have that leadership experience, and you don't get any more leadership experience than you do in the military. I mean, second to none. You spend your time in the military, you rank up, you learn you learn the responsibilities of the United States, the responsibilities of the United States military, and you actually know what it's like to sacrifice, put everything on the line, put your life on the line for faith, for freedom, and for our family. And by family, I mean everyone who lives in the United States. Also, I'm from South Central Los Angeles, born and raised here, so I know what our community has been looking like for a very long time. And leaving the community to join the military, move to Texas, to finish high school after our house was shot up in a drive-by, and then moving back
Wow.
to California, I actually see the things that needs to be changed. And so, having that leadership experience from the military as well as the experience from living in the inner cities and coming back to the inner city where I grew up makes me qualified to be the leader that we need to move forward.
Excellent. Wow, a lot of really interesting things that you have there. Uh, your district is got a lot of challenges. One, I'm not too far from you. I'm a couple hours away. One I know you guys have is homelessness, and that's a
Yes.
huge problem here in California, and it's a huge problem amongst veterans. Do
Mhm.
you have any thoughts on how you'd like to tackle that or address it?
Yeah, absolutely. What I want to do is I want to bring quality jobs back to our city. The biggest issue that we have here is the cost of living. The cost of living is extremely high, so people are getting moved out of their homes, and entire families are being forced to live on the streets. Bringing quality jobs back and creating housing that is affordable for everybody will curb some of the homelessness issues that we have here. Also, reopening the mental health facilities and allowing people who have these drug addiction and mental health addictions to be able to get the care that they need in order for them to become productive parts of society again.
Okay. Now, that's a big issue. Are there any other issues that you think are central to your campaign? Because you're going up against someone who's been in Congress for a very long time.
Yeah. Man, you know what? I have my 5 point plan that I put together in order to be able to move our district forward. And this is rebuilding a relationship between the law enforcement and the community, actually rebuilding a community to support the expansion of small businesses and housing that people can afford to live in. I want to overhaul the education system. We want to reimagine and rebuild the high schools that we have in our cities. I want to get some financial literacy back into our community, and I just want to bring more quality jobs back here. I mean, this is essential that we have those fives, and you can't have one without the other.
It's really interesting that your first one that you brought up was law enforcement, and I
Hmm.
know LA County has California has experienced a lot of issues of law enforcement. LA County here very recently with the two sheriff's deputies that were shot.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's very interesting that you bring that up, and it's a very topical thing. But a lot of people, I think, are avoiding talking about that. I know here on NRN, we want to back the blue, and that's what we push very heavily. Do you see that as a key thing?
A key thing with backing the police department, I mean, it's not so much as backing the police department, it's holding everyone accountable. And that's what we have to start doing, whether it's holding the community accountable for our actions and holding the law enforcement accountable for their actions, but also holding the politicians who make the laws accountable for allowing laws that are ineffective or laws that can be used to target people in inner cities. Holding those people accountable to remove those laws as well. So for me, it's an accountability thing. I have friends who are on the police department, the sheriff's department. I have friends who are involved in politics, and I have a lot of friends in the community as well. So creating a happy medium to where we can move away from law enforcement to peace officers would be an ideal situation for me, and be something that I would fight for. So supporting everyone, but also holding everyone accountable is the goal.
Yeah, and that's a great answer. I really like that because the what I always said, the people who never want to be held accountable are the ones who are doing things wrong. So I think
Exactly.
I think everyone, especially all of our veterans who are watching, I think they all understand accountability, and I think we all know that that's a universal truth that we can all come together on. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
that leads me into my next question. Given right now the current political climate in our country, do you think that our population is inherently fractured, or do you think there are places where we can come together?
Oh, that's a really good question. Um, I think that if we get more young people running in office, then we can create the change that we need. Right now, you have too many politicians who should have been aged out, whether it's on the Democrat and Republican side, who are still trying to maintain and hold on to power because they feel like they know what's best. Like in our situation, Maxine Waters, she got into the state assembly back in 1976. They didn't even have cell phones in 1976. 1976. They didn't have computers. They didn't have technology, right? Back in 1976, they were still pushing post-race wars and racial tensions. And fast forward to 2020, the people who lived during that time, the Maxine Waterses and Nancy Pelosi's, and had to experience that, still think that that's the same culture that's going on today,
Hmm.
right? And so they're refusing to leave office, and they're refusing to let go of the ideology that they had back in the 70s. And they're bringing that here into 2020. And they're creating a lot of chaos and friction because now we're at a time where people are saying, okay, we understand that America is not the best place in the world. We understand that we have a history in America that is racist. We understand that slavery happened and all of these things happened, but it's not happening right now. So what do we have to do to move forward? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And nobody want to bring that conversation to the table and talk about what's necessary in order to move forward. Everybody want to be the victim, or everybody want to be the victor, but everybody wants to be right at the same time. And it's like we have to choose our struggle. So if we're gonna be talking about race relations, talk about it, but also let's talk about moving forward. If you want to be a victor, be a real leader, and let's have these conversations and move forward.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that because, as someone who's traveled around the world myself, the US, while we're very fractured in some areas, but I don't think it's as inherently deep down myself. Just because I've been to other cultures, I've seen the classism, I've seen way worse racism than I've experienced or seen here. So I think there are some places where if we put some true hard work where we can make amends, in Western society, not just in the U.S. So I definitely like that leader. Now, with Maxine Waters, she's been serving a very long time. She knows how to win these races. Is there anything that you are doing that you think maybe candidates who have came before you didn't do that is unique for you?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually campaign. We're actually in the streets. We're engaging people. A lot of candidates stick to their comfort zones, right? So if you're a Republican and you're running in the seat, you like to stick with Republicans. When you're a Democrat, you like to stick with Democrats. Well, for me, I'm in everybody's faces: Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians, Green Party, Constitutionalists, Freedom and Peace Party, everybody. I'm in everybody's face because I feel like when you're a representative, you don't just represent the people in the same party as you. You represent an entire community of like 750,000 people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, you know, a lot of candidates, when you are running, you need to get into the faces of people who may not even agree with you. You never know what's going to happen. You know, and so, you know, I don't think Maxine Waters knows how to run races. I just feel like she's been in office for so long. She's been an automatic shoo-in. She never had anyone go at her head like we have right now. I mean, Maxine Waters made a commercial talking about I was dishonorably discharged, and the commercial was only 60 seconds, but she said my name 6 times in 60 seconds. That's every 10 seconds she was saying my name. She's never even called an opponent by the name before. She doesn't even call President Trump by his name. You know, so the fact that she had to mention my name every 10 seconds in a 60-second commercial tells me that we're doing something right and we're also winning this race.
That's very interesting. That's a unique observation there. So yeah, as we talk in the military, you know, always look for changes in the baseline. That's a very big change.
Yeah.
So you know that could be an indicator that your race is definitely tighter than what they would lead you to believe.
Yeah.
Are you now with the whole vote by mail initiative? And I know California's changed its rules here recently in the last probably 4 to 6 years. Is there any type of strategy that you are trying to do in terms of the get out the vote?
Yeah. Our biggest push right now is to increase the voter size from the 26% voter turnout from the people we've had in the district to a 50% voter turnout. If we can get a 50% voter turnout, if we get half of the 750,000 people that live in the district come out and vote, mail-in ballots is not going to be a problem. And just like I mentioned before, the reason why people think mail-in ballots are a problem is because they don't approach people in opposite parties and do things to earn that vote.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody want to rely on this vote or that vote. So for our race, I have a lot of Democrats on my team. We have a lot of Democrats that support our campaign. We have a lot of independents that support our campaign. And so I know that there are going to be people outside of my party that are going to vote for me. So our main goal right now is to increase the voter size, especially with young voters.
Oh, excellent. And I know your district is a very diverse district, and
Oh yeah.
you know, I've been down in that area, and I think about when I first moved here to California about a decade ago, and going down in that area, it has changed tremendously
Oh
in
yeah.
terms of the demographics. So that it's very interesting. You approach it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk to you about one thing because I would imagine that you've probably done some world travel. You know, most people in the
Yeah.
Navy do. Um, where do you see the U.S. can remain remain a world leader long term, and what type of things do you think we should be doing to support or to support that and put forward a good effort?
I think when it comes to the United States being a world leader, that can only be achieved through international diplomacy. We have to start creating new partnerships. Just like, you know, the racial tensions in the United States that has been fading away, but people try to keep them going. Those same tensions should fade away with other countries who have, you know, not been allies who for the longest time. And so I think that we're at a point where we need to start meeting at the table when it comes to international relationships and start building bridges of partnerships. You know, we don't have to be super friendly with this nation or that nation, but I think it would behoove us to start building partnerships. And one thing that's also important is people who live in America need to stop judging other countries until you actually visited other countries, right? Because the experience that you and I have from traveling from this country to that country gives us a different outlook than someone who is, you know, say never left California or who only visit 2 or 3 states within our United States.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I grew up in Northwest Ohio. I had not been out of really the Midwest up until I enlisted, and next thing you know, I'm getting thrown into cultures that I don't speak the language. I'm not a part of this culture,
Exactly.
and you know, in the military, we talk about get comfortable being uncomfortable. And yeah, when you're overseas, that happens very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to shift gears a little bit and talk about your experience in the Navy and
Mhm.
as a veteran, and just would like to hear a little bit about your story then.
All right. Well, I joined the military on accident. I was actually our house. I got shot up in a drive-by whenever I got into high school here in LA, and then my mother moved us to Texas shortly after. And I remember graduating high school. I was going to junior college and working at Walmart at the same time. And then a recruiter came in at Walmart with a white suit on, a very, very beautiful woman. And so at the ripe old age, like 17 or 18, I'm trying to talk to this lady, and I got her number and everything. I thought I was doing something. I didn't know she was a recruiter. Next thing I know, she's calling me, say, "Hey, why don't you come to the office to have lunch?" Like the next day. And I said, "Okay, great." I'm like, "Yes." And next thing I know, I'm at MEPS and they're offering me a job, and then 3 weeks later, I'm in boot camp and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, how did I get here? I remember the first week I wanted to go home. But I didn't. I didn't go home. I stayed because a lot of guys who I was in boot camp with felt the same way that I did. And so I came in as a jet engine mechanic, and I worked on the F-18 Super Hornet in Lemoore, California. And then I moved to Oklahoma, and I was at Tinker Air Force Base. I did a boots on the ground tour in Iraq while I was there. I left Oklahoma, recruited in Texas and Fort Worth for 3 years, ran a #1 recruiting station. That was probably the best duty of my entire life. I mean, jumpstarting the careers of young people, but being honest about it. I was always honest. If people didn't need to be in the military, I was, let them know, like, look, this ain't for you, you know. And then I spent the last 2 years in San Diego, and I actually got out the military to get involved in politics. I became a presidential candidate while I was on active duty, and they gave me the option to accept administrative separation and pursue politics or drop politics and stay in. So of course I chose um, the political side, and so I took a general discharge. And getting out the military was the hardest part of my entire life. I have children, and so I go through my savings account, taking care of my kids, and trying to rebuild my life and get this whole VA process thing
Mhm.
taken care of. And so at this point, I used to go to Maxine Waters' office on a regular basis, like, hey, I need your help. I'm trying to get my VA. Hey, I'm trying to get a job. Or hey, I need help with this. I'll even do an internship. I even took my money and the last bit of dollars that I had and bought her some flowers. And I didn't get any response from Maxine Waters, like none whatsoever. And she knows this. She knows this by far. I know she got the flower. Her assistant told me she got the flowers. But when my VA benefits came through, and I learned a lot about running a campaign by running for president of the United States. Um, Immediately I start running against Maxine Waters because I'm like, you know what? No other veteran is about to be left homeless. I was actually sleeping on the lighthouse at Ranchos Palos Verdes near Trump Golf Course out here in Los Angeles County. And I have a pure disdain for Maxine Waters. And the way she's left our district and condition that it's in right now, I mean, it's been atrocious. I am in college as well. The VA pays for it, so I use the
Mhm.
GI Bill, getting a bachelor's in accounting. So, just having an all-around experience, from being in the military and getting out the military to be where I am now has been the best blessing of my life. I don't think I'll be the man who I am today if it wasn't for my service in the military. So I have tons of respect and I love the military. I wouldn't go back, even if I could, I wouldn't go back because, 13 years of doing the same thing over and over again. It's just like, all right, let's move on to the next phase of life. But I don't take the military for granted. Don't take any of the experience and leadership and mentorships that I've gotten from the military for granted either.
That's a pretty inspirational story that you have, because you know your struggles with the VA. I've had them. Almost every veteran that we've talked to on this
Mm-hmm.
show has had the exact same struggles. It's such a huge bureaucracy that's so hard to break through. And I had a veteran who once told me, when I was experiencing those frustrations, he said, "Hey, here's what the VA wants. The VA wants for you to either give up or die. And if you don't
Exactly.
do either of those two, you're going to eventually get your benefits. You're just going to have to fight tooth and nail." Um, But your experience is, I'm glad that you came on the show today to explain it, because there are people out there who do have Congress people who work on their behalf, and
Exactly.
even they, those people, even when they have help, they get frustrated. So it's very inspirational to see you say, you know what, I'm just going to keep on fighting,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be a beacon of light to everyone else. So
Well,
that's a
I'll tell you what, I had to actually sue the military in order for them to speed up my benefits. Like 3.5 months sleeping on the streets is not, that's not cool. It's not cool for any veterans. And I didn't go to Skid. I went to Skid Row and I talked to a lot of people down there and a lot of homeless people around. And a lot of these people are veterans. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like um, that's why I'm glad that President Trump has that veterans choice, right?
Mhm.
So we can use our benefits to go to outside doctors because, after I filed that lawsuit and I learned about veterans choice, oh, I absolutely took advantage of it. I found that I have a broken back, you know what I'm saying, in two different places and all type of stuff. And so, I mean, this process is absolutely broken, and our veterans need help.
Mhm. So much of what this show is us presenting resources for veterans to be able to reach out. And I'm talking people who really don't have any connection with the VA. Has there been any of those resources that you've used or that have helped you that you think veterans should know about?
Outside of the Veterans Choice Act, not necessarily. I know that I tried to get on the housing plan whenever I didn't have anywhere to go, but the lady who I was working with, she quit, and so I fell through the cracks. And by the time they called me back, I had already had my benefits, had my apartment,
Mhm.
and I didn't need it anymore. But the biggest thing right now is the Veterans Choice. The VFWs are really good avenues to go to. A lot of veterans who have been successful with the VA works there, and also find a smaller VA hospital. Smaller VA hospitals will help you out a lot faster. Get your benefits that you need. So those are a few things. I'm not an expert on the VA.
Oh,
I try to go when it's necessary. So
neither am I, but one thing we found is there is a lot of resources out there. We've hired, or we've had several nonprofits come on here. It's just you don't know about them. The VA is not going to tell you about them. A lot of the VSOs either don't know or can't tell you about them. So the way I found out was just by networking other vets. That's a
yeah,
lot of the reason we did this show, was we
nice.
want other vets to know, here's what's out there for you. Um,
Yeah.
you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but do you think more veterans should run for office, and why?
Yeah, I do. I do think more veterans should run for office. The reason why is because when it comes to making sacrifices, veterans are the first people to put their lives on the line and put their name and reputation on the line to fight for what they feel is right. And just like in any organization, we don't have, there's no such thing as a 100% perfect person to run for office, but I would trust somebody who's already taken an oath, put their life on the line to defend our country and our way of life over, an attorney who spent a couple of years in law school. Now they want to be a bureaucrat. So yes, absolutely. This is what we're supposed to do.
That's yeah. There's so many issues out there that affect veterans where they become incredibly political. So I think having veterans in there who can approach these issues from a personal standpoint really can aid the rest of us, because we've been through it. We know what the hard things are. We know where the gaps in the coverages and in the benefits. We know where those are at. I'm very delighted to hear that you are taking advantage of many of the benefits. I
Oh
would
yeah.
encourage anyone watching to absolutely reach out to the show. Reach out if they're in your district. I would have them, if it's okay, reach out to your
Yeah,
campaign,
absolutely, absolutely.
and we want to help you get to the resources that you need to get to. And if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to us, reach out to other veterans. This is what we do. We help our own. um, I would like to ask you just one question, because you're a very impressive individual. You came from a very tough background, and still today you face adversity, and it seems like you just say, hey, it's not going to take me down. Who are the people that really inspired you and that mentored you? Because I'm sure the military gave you some, but I'm sure you also have others that you'd probably like to talk about.
Yeah, I would say from my military influencers and mentors, I have two of them. Gerard Sawyer, he was in the military. He was actually one of my first mentors who actually told me to write your goals down. And when you get your goals, let's create a plan to achieve those goals. The first time, I didn't even know that stuff worked. I hear people talk about it, but he's the first person that actually showed me how to do it. And it stuck with me for a very long time. He still calls me and checks on me. Another guy is a person who taught me how to be a people person, and his name is Thomas Gooden. He just had a baby. Him and his wife had a baby not too long ago. Very proud of him. We still talk as well, not as frequent because he is he still works and he still has his child. But those are my two most influential military figures, and also the commanding officer for my last command. And I ain't gonna say his name because I don't have permission. But the reason why is because I would watch him, and I would watch how he moves, and we'll have, slight conversations here or there when it comes to businesses and stocks and just like general things that you wouldn't necessarily, approach a commanding officer with, especially when it comes to businesses and creating jobs, things of that nature. And so he's been very influential over my life as well. And then my grandfather, he was a pastor of Ambassadors for Christ. His name was Bishop Joe Collins Sr. And I used to look up to him a lot. I saw him before he died. He had a major heart attack at the airport, but he worked an extreme amount of time. And so, I just caught up with him. And then it will be my children. My children are my biggest critics, like hands down, my kids. I've been in the military, you've been in the military, and we've heard some pretty harsh things, in a military. But it doesn't get no worse than, your kid telling you, Dad, you screwed up big time. You should have did this. And I'm like, you're 13 years old. You can't tell me. But
Yeah,
those are my influences.
those our kids will absolutely keep us grounded.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
um, Before we wrap things up, I know that you've got your campaign going. I want you to be able to plug any social media, for people who want to volunteer, for people who want to donate to your campaign. If you could tell us where we should send everyone.
Thank you. My website is joecollinsforcongress.com. It's all spelled out. My Instagram and Facebook is Collins for Congress 43, and Twitter, Joe Collins 43rd.
Okay, excellent. And I wish you all the best in this campaign. You can generally look at people and be like, this guy's going to be successful, and I definitely get that from you. So, good luck on the campaign. Good luck with everything that you have going for you. If you would please, especially if you win, don't forget about us here.
You guys got my email address. Just shoot me an email whenever you need me. I'll be there.
Okay, definitely. Because we would love to have you on. Would love to share some more stories with you and, hear about what's going on. If you have anything going that's going to improve vets, we'll have you on. We'll take calls so you can talk to veterans. And we really appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, thank you very much. And for everyone watching, please go to www.nrnplus.com/VN. That is our show page. You can subscribe. It's $9.99 a month, or you can pay $79.99 for the year. You'll get all the access that we have to all the other shows here at NRN. You're going to get our exclusive content. We'll be putting out a lot of really cool things. You can also, if you're on Facebook, the group that we have is Veteran Nation. Just search that group. We'll be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to be posting some stuff that we want you to absolutely take advantage of a lot of the people that we're having on with their nonprofits, but also I'll be doing some stuff to try to help you get, if you're looking to get a government job, help you along those lines, and just in general, network with other veterans and get to the helpful resources that we all know are out there, but just have a hard time finding. So again, I'll thank Joe Collins for joining us today, and we will see the rest of you all next week.